Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. May I ask you to take your seats, please? Thank you.
Enjoy the show.
Okay, let's get the evening started. Thank you for attending. My name is Neil Rogers, and I'm the club president. I would like to introduce you, before we get into the meat of the agenda, I'd like to introduce you to a number of our board members who are here tonight. On my right, Kevin Greer, who is our treasurer. Next to Darren Thompson is Renzo Marcuzzi. He is our Greens director. Sitting, and if you could just rise, I'm sure many of you know who you are. Craig State Gardner, our activities director. Michelle Randall, our past president. Maria Gatsios, our facilities director. Dan Scholes, our food and beverage director. Neil McDonald, membership director, and Carolyn Wright, our golf executive committee member. That's your 2019-2020 board. Just curious, are there any new members in the audience tonight? No? So you're all, really? Thank you and welcome.
I'm 10 days old.
10 days old, wow, thank you. We are also streaming this online, so welcome to those folks who are in front of their computers. We are going to save questions for the end, so if you do have one, we have a pretty healthy agenda here, so we'll try and get through the presentations by both directors and staff. So save your questions and we'll take them at the end. Thank you very much. So, Brent, opening remarks, kind of done the welcome. Want to restate our overarching objectives of this club. And we try hard, certainly Joe and his management team and the directors try hard to enhance the attractiveness of our club to prospective members by doing some of the following matters. We continue our focus on delivering exceptional value and an excellent member experience which yields excitement and buzz in the marketplace around our offering. We have recognized the shift in buyer values towards families, and we will capitalize and continue to capitalize on our golf offering with complementary amenities that foster this position and make Thornhill a club of choice for those living in the GTA and particularly the North Toronto marketplace. We are also acutely aware that other clubs in our market area, most notably Bayview Golf and Country Club, have made significant and substantial investments in their club facilities, predominantly catering to families, to which they now have a waiting list. And that is something we hope to aspire to across all membership categories. We will continue to ensure that our golf course, which is our competitive advantage and our jewel, remains one of Stanley Thompson's legacy designs. We will consider looking at clubhouse facility improvements. Our members have commented through the past few member satisfaction surveys that the club facilities are a little tired and dated and in need of some attention. We will continue to market and inform the public interested in a private club experience. that our club is one that they should seriously consider. We will continue with our environmental and sustainability initiatives as a defining feature. Limited use of pesticides on the golf course and other conservation practices will continue to be our raison d'etre and our practice. And our farm or fairway to table organic approach to food service will continue to be a big part of our delivery and playing cards. These, we believe, are our differentiators that can make the Thornhill Club an exceptional and amazing environment for our members and their guests. Next, please, Brent. So this is our mission, vision, values. This is something that Michelle spearheaded in her presidency, a strategic plan that the board adopted late last year. This is a logo or a graphic that we intend to place around the club in prominent locations to remind both our members and to inform our guests as to exactly what our mission, vision, and values. I won't intend to speak to it at length. It has been communicated to you in various member communications in the past, but please do look out for it and read it from time to time. Next, please. Our 2019 goals and objectives are in large part driven by our strategic plan and the tactical plan that begins to implement the goals and objectives. So you will hear tonight in a lot more detail various elements of this, but these goals and objectives are in many respects designed to position the club as being the premier club in the GTA and the foremost choice of people looking at a private club experience. It's also something that I've mentioned in the past, and it's what I call creating Thornhill 2.0. It's setting the table for the next exciting 100 years of this club. And as you know, 2022 will represent the club's 100th anniversary. And we are in the midst of beginning those celebrations and planning. In many cases, the board wants to put the club in the right position for the next generation of this club. So we will talk about improved member satisfaction. Joe will be speaking to that. The facilities master plan will be led by Darren Thompson. The updated golf course master plan is an initiative that the Greens Committee is about to undertake and refresh that plan. It's been, I think, 3 or 4 years since that was last looked at. We will speak to a capital reserve study that has been prepared. It's in draft, and Darren will speak to that in his comments. The food and beverage services, I hope many of you have noticed the significant improvements that Chef Abby has been making. And Joe and is Abby speaking? No, but Chef, he's probably busy. But Joe will speak to. Enhancing our non-golf programming activities. We have a new activities manager, and he'll be introduced later on by Joe. And we'll also speak to the centennial year planning. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Kevin Greer, our club treasurer, to give you the financial highlights for the last several months. Kevin?
Thank you, Neil. So in a minute, I'll take you through some very high-level financial numbers. I just wanted to speak to a few bullet points here. So I just want to remind everyone that the fiscal year 19 budget calls for a $100,000 operating surplus. And as you may recall that about 3 years ago, management put together a 3-year recovery plan, which was to get us back to break even and generate a small surplus at the operating level. If you go back 4 and 5 years, we were running some fairly significant deficiencies at the operating level. And you can imagine that that puts a heavy strain on cash flow. So management's been successful in executing that 3-year recovery plan. And so now in terms of the next phase of our financial stability and sustainability is addressing some of those aging infrastructure issues. And so Darren will talk a bit about that a bit later. So $100,000 operating surplus would be an improvement over last year's result, which was about 27,000 surplus. And again, the key drivers there are membership growth and cost containment. So we're going to see in a minute that at mid-year point we are on budget. But we do need some new memberships to achieve our forecast, members to achieve our forecast. And Joe will talk a bit about membership numbers a bit later, but this forecast assumes we need about 20 more golf members to achieve that forecast. And really the last bullet on there which said members need to support all areas of the club. So just in general, keep in mind that it costs money to create and maintain these facilities. And so as members, it's really important that you use the facilities because we do need that revenue stream to offset those costs. So in terms of a financial update, this is for the 6 months ended March 31st. Keep in mind our year ends September 30th. So after 6 months, you can see we've got a small favorable variance at the operating line of about 21,000. And that's really on the expense side favorability. There's some timing favorability there. If you look at the full year forecast, we are calling this down a little bit year end. There is some risk around green fee revenue and clubhouse active fees, and some of that is weather related. Below the line, which we call capital contribution, and just to remind people that capital contribution is a combination of things like entrance fees, maintenance fees, and that's offset by things like lease payments, depreciation, things like that. So on that side of the financial statement, we're ahead year to date and are calling to maintain most of that favorability. So really on a full year basis, if you look at our full year budget, we had planned for a surplus of about 114, and at this point are forecasting slight overachievement of that number on a full year basis.
Thank you, Kevin. I want to introduce Darren Thompson. Many of you know Darren. He was a former board of director at the club. Several months ago, I called him back into active service, and he accepted the role as chair of our facilities master plan committee. As I mentioned, this is a pretty significant project that the board is looking at, and Darren has a very active group of volunteer members who are assisting him and therefore the board. So Darren, welcome.
Well, thanks very much, Neil, and thanks for calling me back to active duty. Appreciate that. And thank you to all of you for coming here tonight. We do appreciate it. There is some extensive stuff on the slides that are going to be shown here, and Joe has assured me that this is going to be put up on the website, so I'm not going to go line by line, so if you want to refer to this information later on, please do so. But I wanted to start off with giving you an idea of the terms of reference for the Facilities Master Planning Committee. And basically, we're very blessed here to have really two major assets as a club. One being the golf course behind us, and two being where we're standing right now, where I'm standing, you're sitting right now, in our facilities and our tablelands up here. We want to ensure that we preserve those assets to the best benefit to all of us as members. So we're working as a Facilities Master Planning Committee. Our function is not to work so much on the golf course. We're working with the Greens Committee who will focus in on that, where we're focusing on the facilities that we have up here. And this is all an extension of a group that was put together a couple years ago, the Special Purpose Committee, to look at the real estate assets of the club. And this is simply an extension of that and following upon the recommendations from that committee for the club. So we are going to be considering the long-term real estate strategies and facilities that form the capital improvements or capital maintenance of our existing facilities. And during this whole process, our objective is to continue to consult with the members to let them know exactly what we're doing. Okay? On to the next page. To give you an idea of the process, we've already gone through a portion of this because we did in 2014 have a capital improvement plan where we increased our capital assets by increasing the footprint of our club. That included the fitness and wellness centers, improving the locker rooms, the pool, hot tub, and cabana. And what we recognized from recent member satisfaction and surveys that we've done is we've recognized that the members want us to continue progressing along improving our capital facilities. And so consistent with the club's 2018 strategic plan, this committee is looking at those facilities and seeing what we can do to better meet those objectives of not only the club but the membership. So, what have we learned from some of the surveys and things that we've done? Well, the Pulse survey that hopefully many of you filled out identified really 4 major things that the membership are really looking for. 1, an expanded pro shop and better facility there. Centralized dining, as we see across many of the clubs, other clubs in the arena of either golf or social, more casual dining experiences for everybody. The world is becoming a much more casual place, even though I'm standing here in a tie. And we know that because we've instituted such things in the club by allowing jeans and those kind of things. And so we want to continue along that process. We also have got a big demand for expanded outdoor dining. In beautiful summer nights, you'll see that patio is full, and if we could put some more tables out there, we could definitely encourage more members and their guests to enjoy the summer nights. And golf simulators for off-season activity, one of the big things that people are interested in. So these are some of the things that we're considering, but we're not limited to these things. We want to expand the roster of just not those items, but other things, like junior locker rooms, family places, etc. And that'll be all done in consideration with these major objectives that members have identified to us. Perfect. So, you don't just start this thing and start making big plans. It is an extensive process, and that process has just begun. It is prudent to understand the costs of the existing facilities and the cost to maintain these facilities. And so we sought the advice of experts external to our organization to review and do a capital reserve study on not only the facilities but also portions of the golf club, of the golf course. That is going to be further continued by the golf committee and some more detailed information on the golf capital needs. So through Burnside Associates Engineering and Global Golf Advisors, we have a good understanding now of what the potential costs to maintain our existing facilities are. This is a draft document that is being reviewed not only by the committee but also by the board. And when we have more concrete things, we'll bring it forward to the membership to understand what those recommendations are. So what we've done is when we consider capital, we consider 2 types of potential expenditures. The first is what we call capital maintenance. And capital maintenance is the process of maintaining the facilities the way we enjoy them today. Okay? So there are certain things that we need to do to ensure that we continue the enjoyment of the club. That can be simple things like heating, ventilation, air conditioning, roofing, plumbing, kitchen equipment, all those things, bunker maintenance. Okay? So that just allows us to keep the facility going and what we enjoy today. The second component is actually capital improvements. These are something that are new to the club that can enhance all of our enjoyment and our guests' enjoyment at the club. We've gone through some, we're doing it this year again, but we've gone through some renovations on the 15th hole in 2014. We're doing it again. That would be a consideration of a capital improvement. Converting the tennis courts to clay, fitness in the wellness center, a pizza oven, all those things that we've added to the club are capital improvements. This master plan will consider both of those things so that we can not only maintain our facilities but improve it for all of our enjoyment. Okay? So, next steps. One is to take a deep dive into this capital reserve study and understand all the different aspects of it that the committee or the external experts have provided us. This is a 25-year study of everything that is required for the club, just to maintain it the way it is today. So it's not a slow process. We then, from the committee will take to the board recommendations of what we should consider doing from not only a capital maintenance but a capital improvement standpoint. And from the facilities committee, that will take into consideration the building that we have here today, but also the first tee complex. And we'll work in conjunction with the Greens Committee to understand their objectives for that as well. Critical to all of this is communicating with you, and we're committed to doing that, and we're going to do that through open house and member question and answer sessions in the summers and fall. And then as we move forward with potential funding models for the facilities master plan, we'll bring that to you as well. But it's important to understand the committee and the board are committed to exploring various options from both the capital maintenance and capital improvement projects in the most prudent financial fashion possible. And again, committed to communicating with you and understanding how we're progressing along with that and what our recommendations will be to the membership going forward. All right. Thank you very much. I'll turn it back to Neil.
Thank you, Darren. I'd like to ask Renzo Marcuzzi, our Greens Director, to give you a status on the 15th hole and another project that will be coming to the club later on. Renzo?
Thanks, Neil. Good evening, everyone. So 15th hole, I think everybody who's been out on the course has obviously seen a lot of activity there. This change has been prompted by safety concerns of errant balls from our immediate neighbors. And the club, obviously being a respectful neighbor to the others, we want to make sure that safety is paramount to everyone. So the design that was prepared by Doug Carrick is what's being implemented today. And I'm going to go through step by step each of the various changes that we have outlined on the drawing that's coming up. It's a project that is going to be covered in our current capital budget, so there's no increase to anything with respect to the cost. And the one thing I want to stress, though, is even though these changes are happening, and obviously it's going to reduce the possibility of balls leaving the property, members still have a liability, obviously on any hole with respect to where your shots are going. So members should keep in mind to keep their shots obviously on the course. If you can perhaps show me okay. Unfortunately, for those at home won't be able to see the pointer, but I'll go through point by point here. So this is the 15th hole. The far left side of the page, you have the back tee decks, and all three of those tee decks are actually being lowered by about 2 meters. So this will reduce in reducing the launch angles from those tee decks, and the trees that will also be implemented on this side here will catch more balls. The intent being that with the lower tee deck and a realignment of the tee deck, our tee shots should be heading more left, more towards the bunker on the left side or the north side of the course of that fairway. In addition to lowering the tee decks, there will be trees planted very close to the tee deck, so they'll pretty much be in your face. So you're not going to want to go right, you want to go left. And so left of center would be obviously a good target, and those that are right-handed, a nice fade from that bunker on the left side. Over by that bunker, the fairway, if you've probably noticed as you walk by, has been built up considerably and has been shaped to catch the balls from the drive, from the tee shots, and route them back towards the fairway onto 15. So essentially, it's going to actually make the hole a little bit longer by hitting out a little bit left of center. In addition to what's currently there now, if you've been out there, there'll be another layer of or plateau just below that hill to catch balls that have gone a little too far left and allow you to get back onto the fairway. So Doug's done a fairly good job of designing this. On the right side, or on the south side of the 15th hole, you'll see here where we used to have a bunker on the right side. That's been removed, and that's been built up a little bit higher, as well as there'll be a significant number of trees planted in through that area. So clearly wanting you to go left. You don't want to end up in this area. And Greg is basically going to put this rough probably about 4 or 5 inches. So you don't want to be on the right side of this hole. So together with lower launch angles down at the tee decks, trees very, very close to the tee, increased fairway on the north side of the 15th hole, reduced fairway on the right side of the 15th hole with significant number of trees covering off perhaps errant balls that were a little bit low and won't get through this area here. We should have fairly good protection of our neighbors. And again, we want to be respectful of our neighbors, all of us as members. Okay, that's pretty much for the 15th hole. That's a change that we, and we, oh, sorry, just on the timing. Clearly, we've had some pretty bad weather. The intent was we would have had this wrapped up fairly quickly, but given the weather, last week we lost a week. This week it's going to be more rain coming through for the rest of the week. So most likely it'll be the end of May before the actual construction portion is completed, and playability probably mid-June roughly. Right, Greg? Yeah. So, and of course, Greg will do the best he can, as always. Okay, now the next is York Region Sewer Project. This is the first time you're hearing about this. This is a project that York Region has initiated, and this is an upgrading of their sewer lines, their main sewer lines. And it just so happens that one of their sewer lines runs under Thornhill's property. So York Region has a full easement on the property, so it's not a question of would we like them. They have authority to come in and make the changes necessary in order to upgrade their sewer program. Physically what they're doing is they're basically going in because the sewers are old and they're leaking and their capacity in the York Region has increased. They're trying to increase the capacity by putting in this liner. It's called a cured-in-place pipe, which is a liner that goes into the sewer. They compress it, make the liner up against the walls of the sewer, and then it's cured in place. That gives it a nice smooth liner on the inside and allowing the capacity to increase and thus making it good for several decades to come. This started about 5 years ago, roughly, when York Region kicked this off in concept phase, and Thornhill was brought into the conversation just very preliminarily. Then after that, probably about a couple years later, York Region hired Parsons Development Company as the main project lead. And late in 2017, Thornhill met with Parsons to discuss very, very preliminary plans with respect to the project and to voice our concerns as to who the golf course architect would be. And obviously with Greg involved in this, Carrick has been selected as the course architect with respect to the overall project. It not only affects ourselves, but it also affects Uplands as well. So Doug Carrick will have his hands in how this is going to go through. October of 2018 was really the first draft we saw of plans, and it was very preliminary, about a 30% detail on the drawings. Followed by February of this year, we saw a further update on the plans, roughly around 75% completion. And we've been in contact with York Region and obviously Doug Carrick Design with respect to the plan. So our concerns and our needs have been put in place. But I want to stress that this project, once they come in and leave, it's to be done on as good as or better. So whatever we have today will be replaced in full and or better. So that's the premise by which this project is going forward. To give you a sense of, I'll go into the actual project trajectory, but I just want to give you a couple more details of what's next. This week sometime, the York Region is meeting with TRCA, which is the Toronto Regional Conservation Authority, thank you. And that meeting is to discuss what the project is designed to do with respect to the environment, so whether or not TRCA approves the plan with respect to their criterias. So hopefully that there's a go on that, and if there's a go on that, then the expectation being that do I have a date here? They'll be sending a tender out probably by around early June and receiving responses back in July and a selection of contractors in August. If that all falls into place, then they would be on site on Thornhill in around late October, early November. So we're trying to obviously minimize the impact to all members with respect to golf. So we'll have pretty much a full season there. With respect to the actual project, again at home you won't be able to see the pointer, but if you follow on the drawing, the project sewer actually enters our property in behind the third green. That's the shaded area through here. The dark shaded green, or the hatch marks you'll see if you're at home, is essentially a planned roadway. This roadway will be a lay-down road, so to minimize the disruption to the actual course, and they'll pull that back up when they go. This part of the project is light-duty trucks, not heavy trucks. That's later on. If you notice the square with the round black dot, that's the sewer that you'll see at the edge of the cart path as you're walking off the third green. That's one of the connection points with respect to where the sewer is running. The sewer runs along the fourth fairway, and there's another junction box about close to where the end of the cart path is when you're coming over the bridge. So that's another connection point they need access to. And then they continue following on the fourth fairway, and this little spit here where you see a bit of a U, that's their turnaround point for vehicles to come around and turn around, as opposed to having a huge circle and destroying more of the fairway. So once this is done, clearly they're going to put it back to exactly the way it was, or better. You can go to the next slide, please. So this carries on from the other side. So in the previous slide, you saw it ending pretty much at the creek on the fourth fairway. This is where you pick it up on the other side of the creek. Just down below here, you have the valley number 3 hole. So the sewer runs across the, in between the valley 3 and across the long course number 2 fairway, in beside the first green, nowhere near it actually, and up and across, and this is the valley number 2 hole, and this is the valley number 1 hole over here on the right side of the page. So they have to have access in here because this is the pathway of the actual sewer. As you're going through this, obviously if you're doing work on the sewer, you need a bypass. So the intent is that the bypass pipes will run above ground and will run alongside of that road, that temporary road. Go one more slide, please. This is now on the left side going to the right, the light green shaded area. That's again the same type of road, again the lay-down type of road. And at the end of the, or I should say the beginning of the first valley fairway, you see the color turns to a dark green. Well, that dark green is more of a heavy-duty construction road. This is where the large trucks will come in because they have to bring this liner in, which is quite heavy and large. So they will drive in through here, and this will be on a liner will be put down, gravel on top of the liner, and then made into a temporary road as well. The laydown area and access point will be in through the golf range on the right, and they'll use the road that's up on the right-hand side of the property as it is. So this whole area here will be a laydown for the construction project. The road from the range over to the valley first hole will be designed such that it runs between the river and the front of the 18th green. The plan being that it fits in between there and there's no disruption to either river and or green. So that in a nutshell is the plan. There's also a road, you can't really see it on this drawing, but there's a road that runs up the south side of our range that runs to Yonge Street, where there's another junction box that they have to have access to. You can't get to it from Yonge Street because it's too steep of an incline. So as I said, they will come in, they will do the work they need to do, and they will bring everything back to as good as it was, and if not better. For example, on our driving range, the matting that is here, we expect to have a little bit of an upgrade in those mats. Third green, Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, little drainage issues there, so that will be corrected as well. And of course, if there's any cart paths or anything, then those will be repaired and brought to as good as new. So obviously it's a bit of disruption to Thornhill Club members, but at the end of the day, it'll go back to where we enjoy the course and or better. Timing as far as completion, so they're starting in late October, November. The reconstruction portion is expected to be completed by the end of March. And then the fine tuning, the cosmetic and all that will be done by probably April, mid-May, and around there. Again, this is weather dependent, of course. Obviously, this has to be done. And clearly the best time to do this is in the winter when we're not playing. So at some point in time, they have to get in here. And that's the window that we've been agreeing to. And I think that sums it up. So just, again, just a reminder on 15, while we're all going to enjoy it as it's completed, be mindful of the construction site. Please stay away from the construction site for your own safety. walk to the areas that are on the grass and not on the soil. And please use the tees that Greg has designated as the tees to be used until such time as it goes back in place. And again, let's be respectful of all our neighbors. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Renzo. I'll now call on our General Manager and COO, Joe Murphy, to give us a status on a variety of issues.
Thanks, Neil. Welcome, everybody. Guess what my first duty is? Because Bruce is sitting out there and I'm standing up here, I get to talk about the cabana. So if we can move to that slide, because I know you're all anxious to learn when this cabana is going to open. It will be June 1st, on or about. Do you ever notice that we never really commit to a date? So it is on or about June 1st. The construction is moving along. As with any construction, there's always these little hiccups, but we're addressing them, or I should more importantly say Bruce is addressing them. I just take the credit for it. But we really hope to have that in place, and for all the reasons that are up there. I mean, you have the men's and ladies change room, a family change room, a pool and tennis office, a gathering area for summer camps or tennis players, and of course the cantina serving food and beverages, which is, we have a license pending as soon as we get occupancy that we can exercise. But key here is that, most importantly, is that it really encourages the families and the children to change over there. If you recall last year, there was a lot of little children and people running across the parking lot in their bathing suits. So it was not conducive nor convenient, and we should see a major improvement. But on that note, a special thanks to Bruce. All kidding aside, Bruce is yeoman's work for everything you've done out there. And I know, there's something wrong with this picture where you're not on the payroll and I am, but, well, Bruce, well done. So moving along, the next key area here, as Neil's referred to, is membership. You heard from Kevin. It's great to hear that, as of March 31st, we're on budget, but all the heavy work is really the next 6 months. All our revenues are really in the core months of April through September. And a big part of that is to making sure we secure sufficient golf members, which is about 20 at this point. We're doing fairly well. We're getting a lot of interest. But it's important that we secure new members, and I appeal to all members, not just you in this room, but the importance of we have referrals or leads or any kind of people that you would wish us to talk to. Please take the time to refer them to us, because almost 90% of our new members do come through referrals of existing members. So that's critical. But just to highlight some numbers, we are at 385. There was some concern, people thought we were sold out. We are, but there's attrition every year. If you recall, our cap last year was 390. We did raise our quota by 10. We actually never quite got there when we raised it by 10. We were up as high as 397, but through attrition, we're down to 385 at this point. So it's, again, that stream of revenue, as we've said many times, we're in the membership dues business, and that's critical that we have our full complement of members. Category B is showing some uptick, and we're getting more trial members in Category B. I know that's what we preached to you a lot last year, and a lot of our newer members are coming through trial in Category B, so it's interesting from year to year. And another area that we're very focused on is our Clubhouse Active members. Those are the non-golf members. That's everything but golf. And right now, we're hovering around 155, 156. Our target this year is 190. And it's an important source of revenue. In fact, going forward, when we talk about our capital reserves, that's a key area for us that we could see a lot of growth, potentially adding to our surpluses. So some of our marketing efforts, at this point, I'm going to introduce Vanessa, because I want to put her on the spot here, and she could tell us all the wonderful marketing endeavors that she's about to undertake. Does everybody know Vanessa? Vanessa's our marketing and sales manager. So Vanessa, would you tell us what you're going to be doing?
Thanks, Joe. I'm Vanessa, and I take care of new membership sales and sales marketing. So we're undergoing a SEM campaign with our current marketing company, which is Brandfire, and it has so far been very successful. We are also exploring a new membership ambassador program, which we will update you on over the next few weeks. And we're hoping to have a lot of support from our members for the new membership ambassador program. So please look forward to that in some news and weekly news and notes e-blasts. I'd just like to know, though, how many of you sitting in the room tonight have ever referred a new member to join Thornhill, or have perhaps entertained prospective members here? Can I get you to raise your hands? Wow. Thank you. So first off, I'd like to thank you. How many of you think that you know somebody who would benefit from a Thornhill Club membership, or do you know somebody who is on the cusp of joining the club and just needs to have a conversation with myself or with Joe? Is there anyone in the room? Jody? Okay, 1, 2. Okay. Okay, I will be in touch with you. 3 people over the next few days. But we have good news. The good news is that we have capacity in all of our membership categories. And the even better news is that we actually have a really nice incentive membership referral program. So when a member of Thornhill refers a new full member to join the club, we actually give you really nice credits on your account. So that's always good to know. Actually, on Sunday, May 26th, we will be hosting a tennis open house. So that would be a really wonderful opportunity for you to showcase the club. You 3 people who have prospective members that you know right now, I'd love to meet them on Sunday, May 26th, if not sooner. And my office is just located outside the front doors, and if you ever want to chat with me, I'm almost always here, and we'd love to explore new ways that we can discover how to appeal to your friends and family so that we can support your club's membership growth. Thank you.
Thanks, Vanessa. Thanks, Vanessa. So on the other side of the membership, there's a lot of heavy lifting and a lot of work, and we all know Laura. Laura is with us tonight in our final few days. Laura, maybe you could stand up. I'm sure everybody knows you. But as most of you are aware, Laura's taking a leave of absence and should be back with us in about a year. Her replacement is beside her and has been very well trained, I see. Sarah Scholl. Sarah, perhaps you could stand up so everybody could recognize you. So that's great. Moving along in terms of club operations, I'll try to be as brief as I can, but I got to tell you, I've come up before you on many occasions, and who do I see in the audience more and pretty regularly is Ralph, Pat, and Wendy. I mean, you're troopers. Look at you. Now, I want everybody to take notice here that this is the bridge section. We don't give you enough credit, and I apologize for that. Yeah, so, we just sort of take it for granted that you're just here and that you're making it work. But, there's over 100 members strong at that bridge section. Very competitive. I've noticed that. I heard today was a pretty good day for that. So well done. And, again, it's understated, but perhaps it shouldn't be. And again, we'll certainly make it more notable in the future. Member survey, as Neil's referred to, the member survey dictates and drives a lot of the board's priorities as well as management's. We've broken it out a little bit in terms of priority, which is our golf course, pro shop, food and beverage, golf activities, and clubhouse. You've heard a lot about the clubhouse tonight. The golf course, I'm going to ask Greg to come up and just say a few words about the golf course.
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm just going to give you a bit of an update on the Greens Department and what's been going on. As you know, we opened the course on April 23rd. in what I would consider pretty good condition. Given the winter that we had and some of the stories I hear out there, we fared fairly well. We're not perfect. We've got some greens that have some problems, but we're working on those. And finally, when Mother Nature cooperates, they should recover fairly quickly. We are working on a few things that sort of popped up in the member survey. Tees was one thing, so we are sort of aggressively working on those, trying to improve the turf condition on those. We've already done some aerification already this year and some top dressing, so we should see some good improvements in that area. Greens aeration happened today. We did our top dressing and venting today, and that went very well, given the weather we had today. It was great. Sorry, it was probably good weather for golfing, but I took advantage of it, and we got it done in fairly good fashion. One area where, you know, Mother Nature hasn't helped us is in some of the other work that we're doing, and that includes sodding. It's been difficult to get pretty much any of that done. The companies that that supply sod are only just getting up and running now, just given the weather conditions. And also even just getting topsoil has been a challenge because, again, the weather's just not helping. So we're hoping this week to get into that and trying to wrap that up in the next week or two and get all that done. I do like to get it done early because of the weather conditions are conducive for that plant to root very quickly at this time of year. And it's always a challenge sodding in June and July. It just doesn't do as well. So. The other area where we still haven't really had a chance to get into is bunkers. We're still hoping to get into that in the next week or two and sort of check for depths, matting, those sorts of things. You know, we're a little bit behind schedule on that area as well. So hopefully we can get into that. Some of the cart path work that you might have seen out there, we're planning to pave that sometime in late May. It'll probably coincide with the 15th hole, with the new path there as well. So we'll try and get all that wrapped up. The other thing this year is we've got a bit of an unusual year where we've had a substantial turnover in staff, and we've got a lot of certainly a lot of new students this year. So we're in the process of training and getting them up to speed. People who have never been on the course, it takes them a few weeks to even figure out where they are out there. So we'll be working on that, so just be patient with some of the stuff that you see out there. But I'm fairly happy with what I'm seeing from a lot of them, so I'm very pleased there. One of the things that has been mentioned is some of the tree work. You might have seen a bit of tree work done out there this year. I just want to clarify that, you know, the tree work that we do is not based on you know, just me wanting to take trees down. There's a lot of thought that goes into that process. There's issues like shade, roots, age, condition of the trees, those sorts of things. And in fact, some of these trees, even the ones that we took down this year, have taken me 10 years to finally take down. So it's not something I take lightly as far as removing them. But whenever we've done it, I've seen some very good positive outcomes as far as green conditions and that sort of thing. Certainly the work we did on 6, as much as it pained me even to take those trees down, that green has improved dramatically, along with some of the others, 10, the 5th green as well. So just be aware that there is thought that goes into these tree removals. It's not just higgledy-piggledy or anything like that. There's certainly thought that goes into it. And some of it is architectural, but most of it is, for me, is for shade and for roots. So. And then the last thing I wanted to mention, and this is quite the issue, is golf etiquette. And I don't know how to approach this with my members, but we're seeing some very ugly stuff out there. Divots not being replaced, ball marks. I mean, it's just, I'm the first one out there usually in the morning, and some of the stuff I see, I just shake my head. But, you know, bunkers not raked. All these simple things that as a member of the club, you should be doing. And it's a courtesy. I mean, our staff, we every morning we clean this stuff up, but I can just imagine someone playing in the afternoon having to deal with some of this stuff. It's not very good. So please, I would just urge everybody to be aware of it, and please be helping as much as you can. We try to get as much divot mix out there in the boxes and the bottles at the pro shop. Take them. If you're not sure about what to do, you can always email me. I can give you some advice if you're not sure. But usually as for divots, it's just put them back in. If they don't survive, we'll replace them. So that sort of thing. Other than that, hopefully the weather improves and everybody can get out and play some golf. And hopefully I'll see you all out there very soon. Thanks very much.
Next up is Todd McGrath, our head golf professional. I think he needs no introduction, I assume. Does everybody know Todd? Jack, do you know Todd? Oh, you okay. You do get on this side of the track once in a while, then, okay. Todd.
No introduction. Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Evening, everyone. Welcome again to a new golf season. It's great to see everyone out, and as Greg mentioned, the weather hasn't been terrific, but we're hopeful and patient, and things are turning around. And yesterday was a beautiful day out there, and if you took any of the 2 days we had in April and add up the total rounds, they wouldn't equate to what we put through yesterday. We were at 230 people almost, so it was great to see everyone out enjoying a Sunday. Just a brief update from the golf side of things in our shop. Just a quick thing in regards to staff and our starters programs and some of our other events coming up. Happy to mention that we're able to retain 4 of our 5 golf professionals starting the 2019 season. For those of you who read the information in the off-season, Jeremy Ravondo took a head professional job out east in Halifax as the head professional at the Links Club at Cabot Links. So congratulations to Jeremy. And we have hired a new replacement for him and Michael Hoover. Hopefully you've had a chance to meet Michael either in our Winter Golf Academy or in the shop this spring. Michael comes to us from his most recent position at Beacon Hall. Jennifer Kimmins has transitioned her role a little bit with us. She joined us in 2018, and she's now moved into a part-time role of managing all of our women's golf programs here at the club, which is very exciting for us and for her. And then the balance of her time will be spent teaching and coaching our members. There's lots of demand on that side of things. We've also added a new PGA professional named Connor Dawson. Connor started with us early April, comes to us from Cherry Downs, and he'll be responsible looking after all of our outside golf services staff, which some people refer to as our back shop, as well as assisting with our camps throughout the summer months and teaching golf. We've also been able to retain 14 of our golf services staff again this year, which led us to only needing to hire 6 people, which is very positive for our operation with member relationships and obviously the knowledge on a day-to-day basis. We continue to do training regardless throughout the month of May, which is a key month for us to focus in on training, but we continue that throughout the summer. If by chance you ever find that there's something missing in our side of our operation, I welcome you to send me an email or stop me and let me know of anything you think we can improve on, or maybe something that you've come across and it needs to be a little addressed. Please let me know. For 2019, we'll be continuing with our full-time starter program, which is great. We've got Mike Toulis back again with us a couple days a week. Mike's been here for over 10 years now, I believe, and transitioned into this role at the First Tee. Joining him is a new gentleman by the name of Lauren, so hopefully you've had a chance to meet Lauren. He's here a little more often than Michael, but a very seasoned gentleman when it comes to the game of golf. Has a few member relationships here as well too, so he's ingrained in the club already. And really those 2 individuals are here to greet you, make sure you get off the tee in a timely manner, make sure that you're behaving, have all your supplies, scorecards, pencils, and as Greg mentioned, your sand and seed bottles. We're also getting a little bit of more support this year from our Golf Executive Committee, which is terrific, to assist not only our starters but our PGA staff as well too when it comes to a few things like club policies, dress code, which I know has been addressed in the survey as well too. So pace of play is always something we want to make sure that we keep our eye on. Luckily at Thornhill we don't have too much of an issue with it, but on a daily basis we monitor it throughout the day. Just as a quick reminder, if you could, in respect to Michael and Lauren, our 2 starters, just make sure you're there 10 minutes before your tee time and check in. And we're also asking our Valley members this year to check in with either the starter or the golf shop as well, so we can start to track our Valley course rounds. Something that's never been done at the club. It's been very casual for us to have our Valley course in a walk-up format. Really, we'd just like to start to contrive some metrics and numbers so we know what's actually going on the golf course, and it is a little bit of a safety concern for us as well at times. We know who's on the property. Just on the event side, I'm sure everyone's had a chance to log on through the club website already this spring. If you do, please click through to that GG Golf system. All of our golf events are loaded. It's up there on a monthly basis. We encourage you to sign up for the events through the GG Golf system as well too. Information is there if you click on the event in regards to just some brief details. And again, we want to just highlight some of the events that we really like to showcase the club, including our Ladies Guest Day, our Men's Invitational, our Valley Ladies Guest Day, our Mixed Invitational, and all of our match plays throughout the season. So I hope everyone gets a chance to enjoy the club, look for some beautiful weather like last summer, and get lots of rounds of golf in. Thanks. Have a great night.
Thanks, Todd. Next area we want to just touch on, of course, is our food and beverage operations, and it's really one unit, but as you know, they're really split up into two. You have the kitchen in the back of the house operations, as we call it, and our new chef, who is very committed with his team. He's just off today, worked a very long weekend. So he's unfortunately not here, but you know him as Chef Abby and his team. They're very, very committed to getting the food as consistent as possible, making sure the menu selections are what I think our members are looking for. I've heard some good feedback so far. And on the service side, I thought I'd introduce our new food and beverage manager, Ken Fleming. Ken, come on up and say a couple of.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm going to try and cover a couple of topics, so I don't like microphones. I'd rather just speak. But in the end of just staff introductions, certainly myself, this is, I'm happy to say, my third season starting here at Thornhill. I started in May of 2017. Not an ideal time to start for a food and dining services manager, but we got through that year. But over the last 3 seasons, I think we've really made some strides in building a good year-round core of managers, supervisors, duty managers, a new title here this year, shift leads, and just a good core of year-round. I'm not accustomed. I could just speak to you openly and lose the microphone. In the end, but a good core of year-round staff. I just certainly want to introduce, and a lot of you know some of them. Tina Chason, Dosemi Chung is a recent hire, is outstanding in the department. But we also have a great complement of past and long-term employees, and I look at the one and only Pat Proudfoot on my left. Guy Charbonneau. Guy Charbonneau returned to the club, has been at this club for 25 years. We, as some of you are aware, we kind of shuffled the deck here recently, and we welcome back Juanita Sturge. And then, never mind, there's a lot of people. We're about 30 staff year-round to cater to this membership, and it grows to about 50 in our core season, which we're in now. Certainly a big component, though, to this club, and my job is catering services. And Sonia Sud begins her 2nd year. Which is really beneficial in that she's had a year at this club. And likewise, we had a young chap, Panther Min, come here in August as a catering coordinator. It's given a 7-day presence or a 7-day operation to our catering department, and he's been outstanding. Beyond that, Heather continues to work for us and supervise in the bar. And the last component that we've added is we've taken 2 what I'll call seasoned veteran staff on this property. They're familiar with the membership, they're familiar with the club, in Tony Visitin and Caitlin Greer. And they're here to just help guide the staff. They know their way around, so they're here to help guide the staff and help train the staff and just be another level for that. So I think we're in really good shape that way in regards to where we're at staffing wise. Again, as of April 1st, I took the role of the food and beverage manager and responsible for all the member dining services on this property, and likewise alongside Panth and Son, you're responsible for the catering event side of things. And we always want you to consider this club for your events, whether they be small or large, happy or sad. We'd like to welcome you anytime. There's a side to that, but I won't get into that. In the end, that's where we're at. Staff-wise now, we have about 17 staff who are coming. Happily, 7 are returning staff, and there's 10 new staff coming in the door. And I will get into that training side of things here shortly. Simply enough, in the food service consistency end of things, hospitality and food service is not rocket science. I've been at it for 40 years. I was fortunate to be brought up in a club environment, be it the Galt Country Club, and so know that end of things. But we managed to very simply make mistakes, simple things. And in the end, as much as it's an easy business, food service and hospitality, there's 101 ways you can screw it up. I have tried in my time here the last couple of years to bring 3 things to this department. Planning, organization, and communication. And I think ideally we have made some strides there. But if there's one individual beyond our service consistency and our food service side of things, I think one of the greatest things this club and one of the best decisions this club, from the board to the membership to ourselves, was the promotion of Abhishek Sharma to the executive chef. He's passionate, he's committed, he cares, he's motivated, and he's talented. So I think as much as past employees on this property, ideally we can only get better. Simply enough, in the consistency of services, I mentioned May 2017 when I and we began this new chapter. You just try and survive at that time of the season and get through the season. And I think we made some strides that year, but by no means did we get where we wanted to go. And likewise, there was a few dark days here or a few tough nights. Last year, 2018, I think we continued to develop. But again, we had some certainly inconsistencies, whether it be in service related or certainly food quality. But again, overall, I think we did make improvements, but we also got out of the gate last spring with a few personnel changes and a few hiccups from the human resources side. This year, 2019, we're raring to go. We want things to be good for all of you. This is your club, it's your home, it's your cottage, and from a personal standpoint, from a value that I have, I want you to be well taken care of. It's just good hospitality. So we look forward to doing that. We have 3 focuses at the moment from a front of house end. I work with Abhishek a lot and will continue to, but that's his baby in the back. It's my and our baby in the front, and we get together in the middle. But there's 3 issues you have brought to the table here. The attentiveness or the engagement of the server, we look at that. The food and beverage knowledge of the server, and I lost my point. And as Joe said there, just the speed of service or the timeliness of the service. So that's a focus. Beyond that, new staff coming in the door. Ideally, staff that you're seeing in food and beverage environments are getting about 40 hours of dedicated training, ideally before they're having an engagement with you. So we look to build that program and get them through those steps in what's geared to be Thornhill 1, Thornhill 2, finishing with 5. Last but not least is for my topic was just surveys going on. I know Mr. Scholes is in the room and certainly involved in that process for the club. And we look for the feedback, and my job description and my feedback from Joe is certainly gauged on these surveys. I'm compensated by these numbers, so I have an immediate motivation. But if I can ask 2 favors on the way out the door. Favor number 1 is, again, this is, as I said to you, it's your home, your cottage, we're here for you. But if you have the opportunity to let us know you're coming, it really makes my day. We have a few occasions on a Tuesday night on the patio. We're at 5 after 6. There is 2 people there, and at 6:30 there is 95 people there. And it creates a little bit of a heartache at times. My second just courtesy request to you on the way out the door is we are in the human error business. These kids respectively who are coming to this club this summer, likewise veterans who work on this property for years, we're all human. We make mistakes, we forgot things, we misunderstood what you said. There is always a manager, supervisor on the property. If you have an issue, if you have a concern, please ask for a manager or supervisor. I am approachable. Ideally, if you have a concern, we would like to take care of it at the time of the concern. If not, again, my door is always open. I wish you a great season. And again, we're looking to raise the bar. Okay?
Thanks, Ken. Moving right along, I just wanted to introduce Terry Daywood. Perhaps you could just stand up. Does everybody know Terry? He's our facilities manager. He overlooks the clubhouse maintenance and the locker rooms. As we get into non-golf activities, I'm getting tugged here by the president, Daryl, so you're running out of time here. So perhaps, everybody, have you stood up yet? So Daryl's been in, so Daryl Jenks is our new sports and activities manager, places for John. And his main focus will be driving the whole programming and activities on the non-golf side. Now, obviously, we want more golfers involved in that, so I don't mean it excludes golfers. It just means the growth of that whole non-golf activities, which we see as a major area in tennis, fitness and wellness, and curling as well, and bridge. Yes, good save. Ralph, do you have any more room in bridge? You guys are pretty packed there. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to end with this. This is our commitment to you. Brent, if you can just bring it up. There it is. We'll continue to focus on your satisfaction and on driving operating revenues, looking for cost containment and opportunities as we always do, and focused on improved service levels as you've heard, and again, looking forward to a great year. So thank you all for being here tonight. We have questions and answers now. I'll sit down. You can direct your questions to whoever you like at the table. Thank you.
If we have done a good job, there will be no questions, but we are happy to entertain them. Yes, sir.
My question is about the 15th.
Yes.
Over the course of the years, we've always had problems with our neighbors. We moved in as a golf course in 1922. Nobody lived around, and we've had subdivisions moving in. On the 13th hole, we had a problem. It was solved by putting a screen up. On the 14th hole, we had a significant problem, solved by putting a screen up. On the 15th hole, we had a problem. We put a screen up. Why did we do this extensive job that we're doing right now?
Okay, perhaps I'll take a run at that question. Sorry, with the question. We had when a particular landowner came to us and said that they had a significant problem with errant golf balls, Greg and Doug Carrick solicited the services of a ball flight analysis expert. Believe it or not, there are experts in that particular field of study. Nets to keep balls out of those adjacent properties along 15 would effectively have to be nets in excess of 150 feet high. The nets that we have there now, Greg, are 60 feet high. So we're talking, double to triple the size of those nets that are there today. One net would have not also solved the problem of that sort of caliber of scale. The cost of that was incredibly high and probably prohibitive for this club to undertake. So we looked at a variety of options. Nets were one. Other design elements were the other. And in the course of our work, in the course of the conversations we had with this particular landowner, the design was the most cost-effective way to address their particular concerns.
So are you saying that the construction that you're doing now is less costly than putting a screen up?
Yes, by 10 times 100,000.
That doesn't make sense to me somehow, but you could put anyway, you could put screens up in a way that would solve the problem by, at the beginning of the tee, put a screen up along the right-hand side. Any shot to the right hits the screen. We'll make it 100 feet tall if you want, and that would solve, I think it would have solved all the problem. So just,
Well, it could have solved the problem, but perhaps netting of that high would have also probably precipitated various planning applications and approvals with the city of Vaughan, not to mention perhaps incited a small mutiny amongst those other landowners who live on that street. The reality is that this particular landowner wanted a solution by the start of the golf season of 2019. So we were forced not only with some financial considerations to consider, but also the immediacy of addressing the problem.
in the end, what is it going to cost? What is the cost of the construction you had to do?
The construction project is $150,000. And that is being managed within the current capital project budget of the club.
And I'm also a little concerned with the stand of trees on the left-hand side, the black walnut trees. Are we going to lose any of those black walnut trees?
I'll let Greg speak to that, please.
Yeah, no, we did prune them, and that's all we're going to do with those. So-
None of them are going to be cut down?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
End
Not
of my
at this
question.
stage, Doug, I mean, unless,
Pardon?
not at this stage, I mean, unless they're dying or something, but no, right now they're fine. So, yeah, I have I'm not planning on taking anything there down.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right.
You're welcome. Yes, sir.
I'm an equal opportunity golfer, so I can hit the ball as far right and left, so it doesn't really matter. I just had a question about 15. What are you doing on 9 green when we start to turn everyone towards the left side? And I'm just wondering, because golf balls do go down that side. Are you going to put a net up, or what are you going to do?
Hey, Bill. No, we're not putting net up on 9. The expectation being that we're slightly moving the angle left of where it currently is, so left of center. So balls that, I mean, if you think of balls that you hit right now, then rarely do I see a ball actually hitting the actual green, more so hitting the rough or the bunker to the right of
Yeah.
the 9th green as you're standing on the 15th tee.
Yeah,
So at this point,
it's just a consideration, because
Yeah.
when 14 was built, and I congratulate
Yeah.
the development of 14 with
Yeah.
the heavy grass and everything else, everyone turned left, and now balls are going down the side of the hill on the
on
left
14
side.
to the 11th
To
fairway.
the 11th fairway, and I
Yeah.
can just see that happening. It's just a
Yeah.
question.
I mean, there is a little bit of an angle displacement to the left, so balls may go a little further left, but I mean, my guess at this point in time is that it won't go to the green. You'll go left. There's a bunch of trees in front as well,
Right.
so the ball trajectory should be caught by the trees as they're coming into the 9th green. The tees are all down by 6 feet, 2 meters per
Yeah,
tee.
yeah.
So,
Well, the problem is the back tees, because they're up.
well, they're also coming down.
Right, but
yeah.
originally they
Yeah.
were so high up. That's why those nets would never catch.
Yes, and
the
this
guys
should
on
help
the back
considerably on the fence line with
Right.
respect to the property.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if it becomes an issue, then obviously you have to look at a solution.
Right.
But
My
at this
second-
point in time, we don't foresee a significant number of balls heading out to 9th green.
Thank you. And my second question is this work that York Region is doing?
Yes,
It strikes me as being a fairly significant undertaking from their end.
It
And
is.
it also strikes me as it's going to have a fairly significant impact on our golf course. What sort of assurances can we get that that work is going to be completed on time, on schedule? Because, I'm living the Eglinton subway, and it is an absolute friggin'
So,
disaster.
just to put you at ease, there is no digging happening. We are accessing, or sorry, not we, York Region is accessing the sewer from manhole covers and boxes. This is essentially building a road, a temporary road to bring the trucks into those access points.
Right.
So we're talking surface damage for floating roads on the Fourth Fairway, as well as the First Valley, and then lined gravel roads in front of the 18th green over to that point. So all the work is being done underground in the sewers. It's more setup, and that setup will be all taken out and the turf be repaired by the end of March, and then cosmetically end of May-ish, roughly mid to end of May. So most of that work, the heavy-duty work, is underground with the pulling of the liner from the valley tee box, first hole, all the way through over to the third green.
While they're continuing to have a temporary system.
Well, the system will be above ground, pipes. And then once that liner's in, compressed, cured, and everything's tested and ready to go, everything gets ripped out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is sanitary sewers, it's not storm sewers, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And, I mean, this is a process that many municipalities are undergoing. So this is a very well-known, established process. The actual liner replacement takes very little time. It's the setup and then the takedown.
Okay, thank you.
And just.
So no digging.
No digging.
And this work extends from the 407 through Uplands,
Yeah.
Thornhill, and through Ladies, correct?
And it keeps
Renzo?
on, yeah, it keeps going,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's a very, very extensive process. And we're lucky to have Doug Carrick, not only as our golf course architect of record, but
Yeah,
also
so he-
the consulting architect working for the region of York. So our interests, I am confident to believe, are very top of mind.
Bill, most of the disruption will be to the range, because that's going to be the complete laydown area, so that's going to require the most amount of time for recovery.
It's a winter project.
It's a winter project, but I hear you on delays and all that kind of stuff, but they have this system set out, from what they're telling us, on a pretty regular basis. So.
Thank you, Renzo. Are there any other questions? Yes, sir.
I'm glad the pool is coming along and the cabana and so forth, but last year, there were a number of times, it just could have been our luck, but my wife and I like to use the pool on really hot days, obviously, and sometimes come at lunchtime because my office is only a few minutes away. We get here, we find the pool is closed. We find the hot tub is closed a number of occasions. So hopefully those problems, because we have growing pains, it's kind of a new thing, has been solved, but, to make plans to come, and we come and the thing's closed up, we should have a mechanism. We know when the golf course is full, we can check it online.
Yeah.
Things of that nature, but if we're going to have a pool that's useful, we should know when it's closed temporarily, so it avoids us making plans for the day. We could do other things. I don't know if there's a mechanism. I haven't thought of anything. And especially on the weekend when we don't have people at our front desk. So has any thought been given to letting the members know?
I'll ask Joe to answer.
It's a good point, Russ. I would agree. The last two, well, we opened a pool in September, if I recall, in 17, and last year was intermittent. This year, we don't see any reason why that wouldn't be the case. In fact, through our facilities committee, we're looking at security access systems. So even if we are, you'd be able to have a code that would get you in. But, Daryl, our new activities manager, I hope you're listening very soundly here, because, I think it was a very valid point. We had some complaints, and they had to run and get somebody to open the gate. I know it was, so it will be much improved this year.
But just, is there any way you can check, like, I don't mind calling and finding out, it,
There should
there's
be
just
no,
no
there
way
should
of
be no,
knowing, right?
So other than daily or regularly scheduled maintenance.
Right.
Which probably should be posted
Yeah.
prominently on the website, in the event of an emergency or anything like that,
right.
would could arrangements be made with reception as the primary point of contact or something to that effect? You've raised
Yeah,
a
we
very
could-
interesting
yeah.
question about communications, and we're going to be dealing with it as a board later on over the course of the summer.
But good point.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? No? Going once, twice? Okay. Well, I would like to thank all of you who attended, all of you who are watching online, not only for your attendance, but obviously for your support of this club. I'd also like to thank you for your indulgence on our capital construction projects that many of you have endured, not only with respect to last season with the cabana, but certainly with the 15th hole this year. On behalf of the board, I also want to thank Joe and his team for the work that you do. You guys are on the front line of delivering excellent and exceptional service. Last note, I don't think it can be stressed enough, and it's been pointed out twice here, about golf etiquette. And I'm speaking about repair of divots and ball marks. I was one of about, I think we had 50 or 60 people do divot day, and obviously that's a project that would have been done in the late fall, but Mother Nature shut us out that day as well, so we did it on a rather dry day in April, and it was shocking to see the condition of the course. And we have to, as members, take pride in our club, both the clubhouse as well as the course. So I would ask everyone who is an active golf member to spread the word, and let's make sure that we have an asset that we all enjoy, and do not get frustrated with seeing large divots and ball marks around the course. So sorry to preach, but I don't think it could be said enough. Thank you for your attending, and we will continue to host other meetings like this in the future. we don't have to go to the